For those who don't know me, my name is Trent Thrasher. I am a lifelong resident of Etowah County and a resident of Southside for 30 years. So tonight, we all have a big fight. We have a fight that we need to come together as a community, as one, and fight this. So tonight, I want to start off with getting Kyle Contrell of Church of the Highlands to come up and say a prayer, and he is going to speak.
Thank you, Trent. You pray with me. Father, we're grateful for the community that we get to live in. God, we're thankful and grateful for the blessings that you've given us and the way you bless this community. And Father, we ask that you would continue to do that. Father, I pray that you would be with us tonight. Father, I thank you for our elected officials. Father, I pray that you would give them wisdom. We honor them. And Father, we pray that you would give them wisdom, that God, they would hear, and that Father, we would do our best to steward what you've given us. That God, we would do our best to honor you in everything we do. That we would raise our children in this community to know you. And that God, we would create a place that's honoring to you. Lord, we love you. Be with us tonight. Father, bring peace, bring calm. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. My name is Kyle, and I'm the campus pastor here at the Gadsden campus of Church of the Highlands. And we are finishing our project to move into our new facility over right across less than 2 miles from this proposed location here next month. And so obviously it has an impact on us. When we started this, we didn't know that it was going to be there, or proposed to be there. I live in Rainbow City, not far from this. It would be affecting to me, and my kids go to school very, very close right down the street. So I believe that we have an opportunity as a community to do something amazing with what God's given us in our place. I believe that this community that we have, this whole area, there's so much potential and so much promise of what we can do. That if we steward it well, we can have a big impact in this whole Northeast District, Alabama region. I want to urge us to make wise decisions. I want to urge us to listen tonight. I want to urge us to do the things that it will take to build our community, to make sure that we create something our children will be proud of, and something we can use and be proud of here as well. So thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for your interest in this. Honored to be a part of it. And now I'll turn it over to Trent.
Thanks. Tonight, I want everybody to please pick up this handout and contact everybody with the City of Gadsden. You'll see they have their email, their cell phone number. Please reach out for this. Put your comments. Tomorrow we're having a city council meeting tomorrow at Gadsden. We'll also have a live stream, and we'll have a large TV there for everybody to view that can get it to see.
Some of those emails don't work.
Which one is that?
The first couple.
First couple?
Yeah, I
okay.
tried it tonight.
All right, we'll see if we can get that fixed today, before we do. My next guest here is Andrew Jones. I would like for Andrew to come up and say some stuff. He's our Alabama State Senator. Andrew?
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see such a good crowd out here tonight on this very important issue. My name is Andrew Jones, and it's my honor to represent you in the Alabama State Senate. You know, folks, the powers that be may call this a done deal, but it's my opinion that those words are being thrown around only to discourage us. There is no such thing as a done deal until it is done. And I want you to know tonight that even if a vote is taken by the Gadsden City Council, it's not done until we start seeing a building go up. And we're going to fight every step of the way to make sure that doesn't happen. So tonight I want to assure you that if we continue to work together and we speak with a unified voice, then we can stop this rendering plan. You know, we all know the Pilgrim's Pride rendering facility only benefits a handful of power brokers in the city of Gadsden, while all the rest of us, businesses, residents, farmers, churches, and schools, would be the ones who pay the price. I want you to know tonight that I do not work for the political elite in Gadsden. I work for all of you. And I want you to know that I'm personally invested in this fight. As a matter of fact, my wife and in-laws have a business less than 3 miles from the proposed rendering site. And so tonight I want to give you 4 brief updates. First, as many of you know, as soon as I was made aware of this proposed rendering facility, I reached out to ADEM, or the Alabama Department of Environmental Management. and I was able to reach an agreement with them to hold a public hearing. Many of you have posted comments on ADM's website, and if you have not done so, I will highly encourage you to do that. This hearing through ADM will accomplish one vital thing, and that is the delay of the permitting process. Based on the date that the hearing was announced, as well as the traditional 30-day public comment period prior to the hearing, this would put us at a few days before Christmas. In light of the holiday season, it is my hope that the hearings will be further delayed until after the new year. So hopefully this will buy us some time. The date and location of the public hearing have not been set as of tonight, but we will update you as soon as we have that information. Second, I want you to know that I have been in touch with Congressman Robert Apple's office about the situation, as well as the Alabama Poultry Association and Alabama Commerce Secretary Greg Canfield's office. Based on reporting from the IDA given to Mrs. Christy Knowles, the Commerce Department, through the state of Alabama, was trying to find a home for a rendering facility in Gadsden as far back as 2016. It is not impossible that the state of Alabama has offered major incentives to local leaders in order to locate this facility here in Etowah County. So in other words, there is reason to believe that there may be larger forces at work other than just Gadsden City and Pilgrim's Pride. Unfortunately, many things related to economic development are allowed to be kept confidential, and it may be some time before we learn the full story surrounding this plan and who all is involved. This brings me to my third point. I have serious concerns about the lack of transparency and potential Open Meetings Act violations surrounding this proposed facility. And if any of you tonight have evidence or observations of any violations such as this, I would invite you to speak with me after this meeting. Finally tonight, I'm pleased to announce tonight for the first time that I have established a Political Action Committee, or PAC, to legally, ethically, and transparently raise money in order to mount a campaign against the Pilgrim's Pride rendering facility. This PAC is called the Render It Useless PAC. I want to answer some questions tonight about this PAC. First of all, why a PAC? Once we have multiple individuals join in a common cause who spend more than a combined $1,000, it's imperative that we organize to fully comply with Alabama state law. Next question. Why is it needed? I want to see a show of hands tonight for who is a registered voter within the city limits of Gadsden. There's your answer, folks. We have to expand our support base and get Gadsden citizens and others activated and engaged to contact the mayor and city council members. In other words, we will have more impact if we can get Gadsden voters activated and make Gadsden elected officials understand that this will impact their re-election. Next question. What will we do with the money that we raise? I have been in discussions this week with a multi-state public affairs strategies firm. This firm recently helped to kill an unwanted large landfill in a county in Mississippi. As a matter of fact, there are many similarities with that landfill and the proposed rendering facility here in Etowah County. You know, many also call that project in Mississippi a done deal as well. But the folks there were able to succeed by organizing and successfully educating voters and getting them engaged in the process. At this point, we are keeping our strategy as well as the firm name confidential in order not to tip our hand to those folks who are trying to bring this rendering facility here to Etowah County. Myself and the firm will coordinate with Attorney Christy Knowles, and I've asked my wife, Summer, who's here below, to manage the donations and contributions to this PAC. I want you to know tonight, and I want to be very clear, that all funds raised through this PAC will be used solely to combat the rendering plant, and any unused funds will be returned back to the donors who provided the money in the first place. Every single dollar that is raised through this PAC will be spent and accounted for through the Secretary of State's website in full view of the public. Every dollar that's raised or spent will be accounted for. Next question. Who can contribute to this PAC and how much can they give? Any individual, business, church group, or community organization may contribute to this PAC. There are no limits to how much you can give. You can give as little or as much as you would like. We do need your address and your contact information in order to fully comply with Alabama state law. Next question, how do you give? My wife Summer will be down front accepting cash or check donations. You can also contribute with your credit card or a bank transfer using PayPal or Venmo. For PayPal, you can search Render It Useless PAC, that's PAC, at gmail.com. Or on Venmo, you can search @mark RIUPAC. That's the acronym for Render It Useless PAC. Those details will be listed in full on my Facebook page, and we will share those details to the opposition Facebook page as well. Folks, in my opinion, we can either pay a little bit now, or our children, businesses, churches, and schools can pay a lot later. As for my family, we choose to pay now and make the first contribution to this political action committee. I will be around afterwards if anybody has any questions about any of this. Thank you. We appreciate you being here. Let's render it useless.
Thank you, Andrew. Most of you don't know this, but when we found out about the ADM permit, Andrew was the very first person to come out and block with Christy Knowles, so he has a big part in stopping this on the first day. Our next guest is, she is the principal of Westbrook High School, Miss Cindy Greer.
Stool here. I'm here tonight to talk about the impacts of this proposed plan on some of our most valuable resources. And I might get emotional because I care about our children. Did y'all know that within a 5-mile radius, which is actually smaller than the 10-mile radius you see here, within a 5-mile radius, there are 5,611 children that are involved in school. My school, Westbrook, just happens to be probably the closest, maybe less than a mile. Although as the crow flies, as the stink flies this way, probably John Jones and Rainbowville might be equal to me. So I'm not just talking about Westbrook children. I'm talking about all of our school children, 5,611 children who deserve to be able to go to school, to be able to learn, to be able to play in a way that's safe, in a way that is actually inviting. You know, I don't have to tell all of you because I'm looking at all of you with masks on. This hasn't been a normal year, and it's especially affected our children. Our children got their school closed down in the spring. When they got to come back, some of them got to come back in person, some of them started back virtually, but everybody started back differently. They have to go to school in masks. They have to eat lunch in their classroom. They have to stay 6 feet apart from each other. There's one place that our school children can actually be normal, and that's outside. They can play, they can run, they can cheer on their football team, they can be normal outside. And guess what's the main area that this proposed plan is going to affect? Outside. And I'm telling you, I just don't think that we who live in Etowah County want to put on our watch that we allowed 5,600 children, and really we're more looking at 7,500 by the time we take the whole 10-mile radius, to be affected, and your future's affected because we sat and did nothing. So thank you for doing something. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to read you something that was in the Des Moines Register on September the 22nd, 2018. They are quoted as saying, of course there's a rendering plan for neighborhood. Teachers say that kids struggle to focus on learning when the plant's odor reaches the classroom. Visitors to baseball and football games leave or complain about the smell. It's our job as educators to be able to teach and encourage and motivate our students so that when they leave and graduate, when they graduate from us and they go get trained in a career or they go to college, they'll come back to Etowah County to then begin to reinvest, to begin to be entrepreneurs and start small businesses and run for city council and run for mayors and help us to make our county greater. We don't want our children leaving because our county smells. We don't want our children leaving because of the contaminants in the air that they try to breathe. So I implore you to help us in this fight, to contact the Gadsden City Council, to contact the people in the Airport Authority, and encourage them to do the right thing for our children. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out tonight. Like I said, everybody needs to go on Facebook, like, share, have a comment. We will get back to them after the meeting tonight. My next guest is Dr. Ethan Collins, Etowah County Superintendent.
I'm not much taller than Cindy, but I'll step here to the side here a little bit. Cindy said a lot as far as the school system and the schools are concerned, but we have two schools, Ringgold Middle and John Jones, which are less than 2 miles, and that's about 1,400 students, which that could be a direct impact. And in any communications that I've had with people so far, I've tried to communicate the fact, number one, I am concerned first and foremost about those schools, and then obviously the community as well, because this has the potential to be very adverse on communities, but it's certainly got the chance to be very adverse on schools as well. And that's my number one concern. And obviously, we're for industrial development in the school system because that's what promotes healthy communities, that's what promotes healthy schools, that's what promotes a lot of things, but it's got to be in the right way, at the right time, at the right place. And so, our kids are the most valuable asset we have. I agree 100% with what Cindy said, that our kids we've got to make Etowah County attractive for them to come back to, and that's exactly what we want to do. And so, the school part of it is the biggest issue that we have, and not only on that, it also goes back to the fact that we have our kids that are living in residences that are in close proximity here as well, whether it's 5 miles, 10 miles, whatever the case may be, but it has multiple effects in all that. And sure, it's true that on any industry that comes into Etowah County, school system, get out oral taxes, use taxes, etc. Those are all great, but it's not great at the expense of our communities and ultimately our children. And so the amount of money that I think was published in the Gadsden Times yesterday, that is just a very, very less than 1/10 of 1% of our budget. I mean, it's very, very less than 1%, rather. It's very, very small. And so that's not the issue. The issue is keeping our schools safe, our kids safe, and hopefully our community safe. And that's where I stand. And my board member, Jay Freeman, where's Jay at in the back there? Jay was somewhere around earlier. Jay and I talked practically about this. And so we've got to keep these things safe, and hopefully we'll be able to do that over the next little while. So thank you all for being here tonight, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. My next speaker tonight, remember, Facebook Live, please like, share. Please take signs with you. And like I said a while ago, please take this home. I know that with somebody just mentioned that we didn't have it on our emails. We'll try to update that tonight. My next guest is Tim Ramsey, District 4 County Commissioner.
I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It means a lot for everybody to get together. It means a lot for our community to stand together. And I think that's one of the things that I've worked hard to get to happen when I campaigned for this position, was try to get us all unified in this county. I feel like this is probably separating us to a certain degree. I'm not really happy about that. But hopefully we can pull together, we can enlighten our fellow cities that we can do better than this. We can find a better place than this. But anyway, I would like to introduce, or not introduce, but to speak to our other commissioners. They're here in this place. I have our CAO, Shane Ellison, in the back. The other commissioners are here. If you need to speak to them, to what I say, please do. I've been given the right to speak for all of us. Really, what I just want to do is just kind of run down the timeline. There's been a lot of misinformation put about what we have said, what we have done, and where we've been and all that. So I will try to clarify all of that and make sure that we're all of one accord here and that we know what is going on. I would start off by saying that, for the record, I am in opposition, totally in opposition, to the placement of this plant where they put it. This is not going to be good for our neighborhoods, it's not going to be good for our schools, it's not going to be good for industry, and it will not be good for the future of our airport. As far as the timeline, there was 4 of us from the county who went to Iowa in February. We went on the invite of Building Pride. The Etowah IDA contacted us about putting that facility on county property. And so doing due diligence, we accepted their invitation to go take a look at the state-of-the-art facility. Again, we flew into Des Moines, Iowa, drove about, I don't know, seemed like an hour maybe, up to a little place, Eagle Grove, I think it was the closest little city to it. Very nice facility, brand new. It was not a Building Pride facility. It was another, I'm not even sure, they actually were processing pigs there, the best I understand. But we did not go to the intake side of the facility. We went to the cooking side of the facility. There was a smell outside the facility. Again, this is February in Iowa. And my chief reservation about this from the beginning, and this has been echoed by other commissioners, is that is February in Iowa. What does that look like July, August in Alabama? And my concern is really that. I believe that the smell outside that plant was pretty well contained. Again, we're in Iowa, basically in a cornfield, out in the wide open with the wind blowing, and it's pretty contained. But when you put that same plant a few hundred yards from our runways of our airport, a few hundred yards from our other industry, less than 2 miles from all of our children at school, within, 2 miles of 3 of our major neighborhoods in Rainbow City and District 4, there is a problem. And I speak loudly to say that I believe there is a problem with that. Again, I was impressed by the facility. It is a state-of-the-art facility. They're going to tell Gadsden City Council that tomorrow. And I agree with that. It is a state-of-the-art facility. I do not believe it is the facility for that spot in this county. Saying that right there, I have the other side of the story that I represent in this district. The poultry industry is a huge industry in Alabama. I read something the other day, it's $17 billion that they pump through this economy of the state. I have poultry producers in my district who have reached out to me and say, we need this plant. And I agree with that. If we're going to all continue to eat chicken, we need this plant. We just don't need this plant seated. We do not need this plant seated. Let me finish. We do not need this plant sitting adjacent to our neighborhoods and whatever else. There has to be a compromise in where this goes.
The needs of a few should not outweigh the needs of many.
All right, we're going to have to fight together in this. The poultry industry in Alabama is a huge industry. It's going to be a huge fight to fight them to get this thing to completely stop. But whether it comes to Etowah County, Santa Clara County, or whatever county, it's going to have to come somewhere, or we're going to look at this, and they're not going to allow it not to come. So I'm saying that it has to stop. All right.
How many years have we been without one?
To the fact that we need a problem, we're going to have a new one. I don't want to argue about this, folks, and I'm not in opposition to any of you. I'm looking at both sides of this position where the poultry industry, which is a huge industry in Alabama, needs a facility. I'm not for where they're putting this facility. don't even think that I'm gonna go down that road.
Is that
That is
spot
for them
bought
to
up
figure
before
out
they picked
where
it?
they're gonna put that facility. It's just has to be in a much less occupied place. They've got $17 billion in industry.
Did they think of it before they picked it?
Who
Why
is them?
would we trust them that they have made this decision?
There was 4 of us went to Iowa. I can tell you, it's myself, our CAO Shane, Marilyn Lott, and Jeffrey Washington, the president at the time. We all went up there to look at it. We all came back. We all discussed it. We went through the whole due diligence of will that plant fit on the mega site. That was the whole thing. That's where IDA came to us to look to see if we would entertain that idea. We did our due diligence to look at that place. We did our due diligence as a representative to try to get revenue to this county, to look at that situation. We looked at it from top to bottom. We did a water survey, found out how much it was going to cost to get water and sewer to it. And in the very end of it, we said it doesn't fit what we need here. And we walked away as the county, we moved back from it, and we did not have anything else to do with it. I want you to understand that we did not have a vote. I've had several people asking me to vote no on this. We did not have a vote in this. This is not a county issue anymore. We moved away from this, we declined it, and we said, we're out on that.
So when it left y'all, who did it go to?
It went back to where it started, which is Gaston IDA, which came to them from the state, from my understanding. We were contacted by Gaston IDA to take a look at our meta site to see if we would entertain the idea of putting it there. We did the due diligence of looking at it all, and we looked from top to bottom, and we said no. After we said no, we're out on it, and we all signed a non-disclosure, so we couldn't talk about it.
Sure, we talk about it now, and anybody
Everybody knows about it now, man.
Tim, what about the trail from lagoon ponds that you and I have already discussed prior to this meeting? That not only the trail from the plant, that's nothing compared to when they have to drain those ponds around it and carry it out to farms and put it out, and how it stunk down in the flatwoods for 4 months. And it smelled so bad that my wife and I had to leave our home. I've already discussed this with you. Down there in Montgomery, they've already got gold politicians in their back pocket. Yes, poultry industry is big in Alabama, but they don't own Alabama.
I have a question. Did you and I go to Montgomery to fight that?
You went down there. I was sick and wasn't able to go. I have a heart.
I went on your behalf in Montgomery and fought that at 80.
What did you come back and tell me? You told me that all those people were already bought off.
What I told you, no sir. What I told you was, I felt like that was a done deal before we went down there, and we did not give what I felt like was due diligence in a hearing down there. And I'll stand on that right there.
Did they not talk about the people that got up to talk about it? Did they not talk to them like dirt and made them sit down?
They dismissed them. There was a lot of good information put forward to aid them on that, and it was dismissed. And that is, if you not understand
Tim,
what
I
I'm
got
saying,
one question and I'll shut up. If you didn't have a vote on this, why did you and your friends that didn't have a vote go up there and
let's clarify that. I had the vote whether it came to county property, and we said no. I do not have a vote on where it's at now. That is city property. That's the answer to that, okay? I do not have a vote on city of Gadsden issue. Only on county issue.
You said this came from a state entity to the IDA originally.
It's my understanding.
What state entity?
I assume that the state industrial development authority contacted Gaston Etowah. This is my assumption. I was not there when that happened. Gaston Etowah is the one that contacted us, but I do not believe that Gaston Etowah went out searching for this. I believe it was handed to them to try to find a home for it. And I believe that's what Senator Jones said, if I'm not mistaken.
So what you're telling us is the state is telling us that the county of Etowah has to take this according to their opinion.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, not at all. I'm saying that the state handed it to the SHS and said, we need a plant like this, see if you can find me my home. And that's what I was saying, if Senator Jones wants to reiterate what he said, I believe that's the time to fly.
Have you looked at the health problems these plants cause?
Yes, I have. I'm not happy about these
California
plants.
had to shut down because it was killing the people.
I'm not
You need
happy.
to look at the health problems too.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about the county commission as a whole?
Excuse me?
You're against the current site, proposed site. How does the county commission feel about any site in this county?
I can't speak for everyone on the county.
Well, they're all
commission.
here. You said they were here. Let's hear it.
Well, I will say this, I am not opposed to finding a place for this plant, because if we're going to have poultry in Alabama.
Okay.
If we're going to have a poultry plant, or we're going to have poultry industry in Alabama, then we're going to have to take care of the parts of the chicken that we don't eat. And that's what I'm saying.
We haven't taken care of it so far.
We take care of the people that live near it.
Let me finish this with one thing. I stand again in opposition to the placement of this plant. I do not believe it's the right placement of this plant. We can argue about where it's going to go or where it's not going to go, but the decision to put this plant this close to our schools, our churches, our neighborhoods, our children, this close to the industry, this close to our airport, is a short-sighted, very short-sighted plan, and I stand in opposition to it. Tomorrow at 11, I'll be against the city council standing up to stand again in opposition to it. Again, I can't tell you any more how much I do not want this plant when they're proposing.
But you're not in opposition totally 100% of it being somewhere else in the county, are you?
I'm real enough to understand that it has I would love for it to be in somebody else's county, but at the same time, it's got to be somewhere, and I'm a realist enough person to understand.
I mean, you don't holler at
Check out the charts on either side of you. Anywhere in that green circle is the same thing. It's not just because we're down here at Southside tonight. Because I don't live in Southside, but I live in that damn green circle.
How can you represent us after you've already said you're okay with coming to Etowah County? How can you speak against this to the city council at Gadsden? How can you speak for us against this to them?
I think there's a lot of people in this county that understand that if you're going to have turkey on Thanksgiving, you're going to have chicken, you're going to have we're going to have to do something about getting rid of it.
We need chicken. Let's have turkey one day a year.
They're going to stink up the county for 30 jobs.
Hey, thanks, Tim. Hey, so most of y'all that don't know that this was really originated in 2016 by the IDA board. Emails were sent around. It had business leaders on that board at that time, and it was disbanded when they turned this down. There were business owners that were looking into this and said no. It was brought back. The board was disbanded in 2016 with new members. Again, we need to all come together. We're going to have questions. You can go on Facebook Live. We'll take some, Christy will take questions after this is over with. I think I'm speaking for her, maybe just a few, probably about 5 minutes worth. She has been she's very knowledgeable on this. She's been the fight for the first day. I would really like to thank David Chadwick, Julie Chadwick, because they have put together a great team to fight this. If those of y'all that know them, they are really great. They love this community. When I say love this community, everything they do is about this community. They give back. Me and my wife do too. Getting choked up because I do love this community. I work, I build stuff in this community. We do need development, but we don't need this, not right now. It's a time and place for everything. My next guest is, she's from River Keepers. Her name is Justin Overton, okay. And she's going to give you her view from the Coosa River, the lake streams that they do. They have around how many people? How many members? Yes. 1,200 members. So if you live on the Coosa, or if you're out on the river, or you enjoy out fishing on the creek banks, she is your girl. Here you go.
Like I said, my name is Justin Overton. I'm the Executive Director and Riverkeeper at Coosa Riverkeeper. If you're familiar with us, we work from Etowah to Wetumpka, so we work in Neely Henry all the way down to the jail waters of Lake Jordan and Jordan Dam to ensure that we can answer some pretty simple questions. Is it safe to swim here? Are the fish safe to eat? And what does the water quality mean for my community? So we're here today to talk to y'all about the ADEM process, the Alabama Department of Environmental Management process, and what poultry processing and rendering means for water quality, in addition to air quality, which I know is a concern from those of y'all that are in that circle right there. But before we do that, raise your hand if you've ever caught a fish on the Coosa. Raise your hand if you've ever been on a boat on the Coosa. Keep it up. My goal is every hand's up. Raise your hand if you've had a cocktail on a dock. Oh, come on. Okay, raise your hand if you've gone fishing. Raise your hand if you've gone kayak fishing, paddling, gone and hunted somewhere in the Coosa River Basin. So nearly every single person in this room has raised their hand in some way that the Coosa River plays an impact into their life. But nearly every single one of you, when I ask the next question, will raise your hand. Where does your drinking water come from? Does it come from the Coosa River? Not Rainbow City. Well, 65% of people in Etowah County rely on Coosa for sustenance or drinking water. So I want to talk to y'all about where this particular facility is going to discharge. So let's imagine that you're a corporation, or let's say this, we'll stick with the student theme. Let's say you're a student and the teacher lets you grade your own paper. How many of you would give yourself an A? And if you are raising your hand, I don't believe you, y'all are joshing with me. So that's a lot like the environmental permitting in Alabama. The polluting industry, no matter if it's a chicken processing facility, rendering facility, or a power company, they apply for a permit through the Alabama Department of Environmental Management. And essentially what they do is they issue these permits. And I can tell you firsthand, because I wrote like a 15-page comment letter on JCG Foods, which just started in Wills Creek, that Alabama Department of Environmental Management is not interested in your health or in the health of the water quality or how big the largemouth bass you pulled out of the river. They're interested in issuing permits. They have no interest in enforcing those permits to be preventative of any health issues for the wildlife, much less your health issues as an individual. So Coosa Riverkeeper is firmly opposed to this. And if this comes to permit, I promise y'all, with every bit that's in me, that you can count on us to write technical comments, because this is literally what I do for a living. I work to ensure that the places that you swim in, you boat in, you fish in, that you hunt in, are safe for you and your family. Because I was a little girl who grew up, my daddy's from Anniston, and I wanted to turn over rocks in a creek, and he told me no, that they would make me sick. And like years later, I learned that that ditch, essentially, was laden with PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, which are a known carcinogen. Now granted, this particular facility may not be releasing known carcinogens, but it's going to be releasing a lot into your air and into our waterways, which are already impaired. What I'm thinking, based on the fact that I haven't seen an actual permit yet, is this is going to discharge this wastewater treatment plant into Dry Creek, which will then make its way into Canoe Creek, which will then make its way into Neely Henry Lake. I will tell y'all firsthand through our own water quality sampling that Canoe Creek already has a ton of bacteriological issues. Last summer, we tested there every single Thursday, and there was not a single Thursday that the bacteria limits exceeded what we deem safe for whole body contact, meaning you want to swim in it. So we're speaking from the perspective of the river, but also the recreation of this area. If y'all didn't know, Jacksonville State University put together an economic impact study for the Etowah County area and Lake Neely Henry. Does anybody have any ballpark figure for what the impact of the lake is for this area?
A lot.
A lot, that is true. Anybody got more concrete numbers than a lot? It's in the millions. You're reading the paper, aren't you? Okay, if you haven't picked up Coosa Riverkeeper, put some flyers together with some information. If you have the flyers, will you hold them up? I've got various members of my team around. There's one right there. That's Josh, our board member. There's Max back there. If y'all on your way out, be sure to grab them. So $570 million is the economic impact of Neely Henry Lake. Think about the boat sales, the fishing license that are purchased. people launching at Coosa Landing. Think about the fact that just a few weeks ago, you guys had a Bassmaster Classic on Meeting Henry. In that single week, there was an economic impact of over $1 million in this area. So for folks to pretend like the economy and the environment are separate, that is just simply not the case here. Your entire economy is dependent on tourism. People are coming to this area because they want to fish, because they want to get out on the river. Y'all, this is a treasure that we need to be protecting. There's a reason that you probably moved here and invested and grew your families and maybe started businesses here, is because this is a great place to be. And let's keep it that way. So keep this momentum going. I, in my 8 years at Coosa Riverkeeper, have never heard of the Department of Environmental Management giving a hearing before they've issued a permit. And we really need to thank Senator Jones for making that happen. That is absolutely amazing. So that being said, you know, next time you cross over a creek and you don't know its name, I encourage you to get on Google Maps and learn it, because these are not unnamed tributaries. These are places that are not just habitat to special critters or maybe where you have memories, but these are places that are worth protecting because they are feeding into our lake, which is all feeding this respective economy. So that being said, thank y'all so much. Again, I'm a Coosa Riverkeeper. Please look us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you have any complaints, if y'all see anything fishy on the lake or on the creeks, we're the people that you call, and if I don't know the answer, I will find it for you. And we look forward to fighting alongside with y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Justin. I think I've already got our first complaint. We have Pilgrim's Pride. Do we have anybody tonight from Pilgrim's Pride here in the audience that would like to come up, stand up? I didn't think so. But anyway, our next speaker, she has fought from day one, from the first time that we notified her. She was taught and put everything aside. Heck, I haven't been able to do my own job for the last 2 weeks. Me, David Chadwick, Christy, we have been fighting this for day one. Meeting, getting, on the phone, and as far as keeping this away. There is a time and a place, but this is not the place. Etowah County doesn't need this. We need to be in a cornfield in Iowa somewhere. So, Christy, please come on up.
So I'm the attorney for Choice Fabricators and David Chadwick, the Chadwick family. They're the ones that helped sound the print. Everybody. So I want to thank. It is beyond an honor to be the attorney for this matter, to represent you guys, to help you with this fight. It's my job to fight. That's my job. So this is just my kind of crowd. I love it. So I don't mind if y'all have any questions for me afterwards. That's what I'm here for, because the strategy of how we're going to fight this is a very important thing. And I can fight it as a lawyer, and I can get up and I can fuss and I can argue, but you know who you're going to listen to the most? Right here. That's what they're going to listen to first and foremost here. There's various strategies we can do to fight this. Legal, lawsuits, ADM, other things like that. Those are all great. Those are part of our overall strategy plan. Plan A. Plan 1 is the Gadsden City Council. They can stop this. I keep getting asked, who can stop this? Who can stop it? They might not have brought it here, but they can stop it. The tax abatements, the other incentives, and other things that would have to be passed for them to come will come before the council. And that's why we're asking, we're handing out these flyers. That is the first line of defense, is to contact them and express respectfully and express honestly the concerns that you have, because this isn't just a fight about us and them. It's not even about that. This is a fight about so much more than that. It's a fight of we don't do business like this anymore. We might have done it this way one time. This might have been okay. We might have ignored it. We might have just let it go. We aren't that county anymore. We are not that city anymore. We are not those people anymore. We can do things a different way. And I'm asking you to please come with us. Ask them this. Come with us to do this in Cities aren't fighting each other, communities aren't fighting each other, we're coming together to do this. So if you reach out to them and say, you know, look, there is no defensible argument for this to come here. There's not. Nobody can give me, I don't care how state-of-the-art it is. I don't care how modern it is. Will that change the equation? Pilgrim's Pride's going to be there tomorrow at the city council meeting at 11, and they're going to talk about how state-of-the-art this thing is. We need everybody there. Pilgrim's Pride needs to see who shows up, that we are there, and that, hey, you go somewhere else. Be there tomorrow at 11. At City Hall, they can only fit so many people in the council chambers. But we can go outside, there's spaces. I think Trent and David and Teresa Drummond have a practical tailgate party planned in the park beside City Hall, where they'll live stream the meeting. It might be cold, but it will be a way for when they come out of that meeting, they see people out there going, hey, we don't want you here. Go home. So if you can, come to the meeting tomorrow. They're going to argue how state-of-the-art this thing is. I don't think anybody here cares how state-of-the-art, how modern it is. You don't truck in 1.2 billion pounds of raw meat into our county a year, and that not smell bad. I don't care. Mother Nature won't let that happen. So, come if you can. Tomorrow, we will also be at the Gadsden City Council meeting December 8th, the following Tuesday. We've asked to be on the agenda. There's several people who are going to speak on that day. So the goal is to stop it at the city council level because, y'all, let's get this over. Let's get them to say no, and let's move on to something that unifies us. Let's find a project we can all do together and the community. The sooner we put this together, the sooner we can move on to something that's a productive thing. We all would rather be spending our energy building something here rather than having to fight. Strategy number 2. When everybody asks me, what do I do? What do I do? The Gadsden Airport Authority. They own the property. And if they are going to, and if Pilgrim's Pride is going to buy it, the board has to vote to sign it in. Simple as that. And if the council doesn't refuse, then the members of the airport authority can. They can say, no, we're not signing that deed. The Gadsden City has promised Pilgrim's Pride that the airport will do it. And my understanding is they've never really voted on that yet. I'm being told the authority board hasn't voted. They'll have to vote on that. And if contacting the authority and saying, hey, vote no, don't sell it, then that's step number 2. I could go on, but we've got step 2A and 3D. We've got multiple steps after that. But if we can get it through number 1, if we can stop it right now, then we don't have to talk about drawn-out legal battles or ethics complaints or all these other things that are part of our open meetings violations, which is a whole other topic. And look, that's my job. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind fighting those fights. This community doesn't need that. We need it over. We need them to vote no. We need to move on. We need to build something together. So call your council, call the Gadsden Airport Authority, email, call, be there tomorrow. I can fight the legal fight all you want, but the voices they're going to hear are right there. Let your voice be heard. Let's end this, and let's move on to something that we can all get behind together. I got one thing. Craig Lipscomb has COVID, or he has COVID, and Becky Norgren, our representatives, they both have contacted me saying they oppose this, and they'll do whatever they can to help, but they couldn't be here tonight because they don't need to be here.
Thank you, Christy. So, what we're talking about the land sale, LFA has not approved the land sale. That's what has to be approved. If you have anybody that can talk to the LFA, that is our biggest roadblock, LFA. For most of y'all, the impact of this already has started. We have people that's not coming to town. We had a farm on Still Station Road last week that didn't close because of of this. Also, I have 2 businesses that want to relocate here. So the impact that they're talking about 30 jobs will come here, that's not true. I mean, we're having a lot more impact with people, businesses, small businesses want to relocate here. So it's a big impact to our city, our county, our families, and the way of life here. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. And tonight, I'll just wrap this up, and I want everybody to get out tomorrow. Get a sign. Please, everybody on here, their cell phones, this is their correct cell phones, so you can call them. Please talk to the city council. They are our vote. Call everybody on here. Call call the board. Anybody with a voice. So thank y'all for coming tonight.
Hey, real quick, how can the 500 folks that are watching online, how can they get signs and get all that paperwork?
Christy, do we have that? I guess. Do we have the Willow Tree? I think I heard somebody, Kim said we could pick up signs at the Willow Tree. So the Willow Tree is on Steel Station Road. We will post something there. They can pick them up at my office on Steel Station Road. We will have signs for tomorrow. We're also selling shirts in the back. So if you could buy a shirt, that'd be great. And anybody wants to make a contribution, Miss Summer here will take that. We have a big fight. Thank y'all.